Hey everyone, I'm Mine, and this is set number 80047, Mei's Guardian Dragon from the LEGO Monkie Kid theme. This set contains 605 pieces, 4 minifigures, and will retail for $74.99 in the US. This set is not officially released until June 1st, 2023, but it was sent to me early by the LEGO group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. Before I get started, I'd just like to ask you guys please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm doing early reviews of a bunch of LEGO sets right now, including the rest of the Monkie Kid sets, as well as LEGO Ninjago and LEGO City, and a lot of other fun stuff down the line. So if any of that sounds like something you'd be interested in, by liking this video and subscribing to the channel, it'll help put my videos in your feed as soon as they're posted, and also really help support me in the channel. But with all that being said, let's get on to this review. So here's Mei's Guardian Dragon, and honestly I'm surprised it took us this long to get this, because the dragon symbolism has been a huge part of Mei in the show and in the sets since the beginning of the theme. So the fact that we never actually got a dragon for her is kind of shocking, but it's finally here. And as someone whose main focus is Ninjago, I have reviewed a lot of dragons over the years, and I have quite a few in my collection, so sometimes I get kind of tired of dragon sets because they can sometimes feel very samey. However, I can pretty confidently say this is not only a good dragon, but it's a very unique one too. So let's take a look at it up a little bit closer. So it appears that this dragon is meant to be a mech dragon, because there's lots of different stickered parts that indicate a mechanical vibe. Additionally, there's lots of sharp edges, which is a very simple way of showing that something's more mechanical. But this head sculpt is gorgeous. I love this so much. Starting at the snout, the way these pieces go together is so nice. These two pieces right here I actually never knew connected like that. Both of them have been around in LEGO for forever, but somehow I don't think I've ever seen this. I could be wrong, I might just be forgetting, but I don't know. I put those together and I was like, oh, whoa, those do that? Very cool though. The dragon uses little whip pieces to be a mustache, and then there's a tiny little mouth that opens up to let it get some personality out of it. I love what they did for the eyes. They're actually printed parts, but then they go underneath this robot arm piece, which sort of serves as an eyebrow, and just the geometry of that, it all just clicks into place so nicely. It was very satisfying to put together, made for a very fun build. Which, by the way, if you want to see the build, go check out my new speed builds channel. I just started that one up. I'll put a card in the top right corner. I should have a speed build of this one up. If it's not up now, it'll be going up soon. But anyway, we also have a few more stickered pieces here. I like the lime green to sort of be the hair. It's a very fun splash color, and you can see it's used in a few places throughout the build. And then there's a pretty good range of articulation on the head. It's connected on a mini ball joint, and it can move around quite a bit. The only real concern is these hair pieces coming off the sides. Sometimes you turn the head weird, they'll pop off accidentally. So that's something you have to keep an eye on, but in my opinion, it's not a huge deal. You can still get a pretty wide range of motion without it being an issue. When the set was revealed, I saw some concerns about the shape of the neck, and it might be a little bit odd, but I don't know, I think it works. When the head's up, it maybe looks a little bit strange, especially from the front, but when you got the head facing forward, I feel like everything's fairly organic. It's got a very fluffy, cloud-like feel to it, but I don't feel like the angle's too unnatural. The chest build's another part that just made me go wow when I was putting it together, because it all came together so nicely and created a really nice shape. The neck was built completely separately from everything else, because you can see the orientation of the studs is actually completely different. And then there's a stickered piece with an orb in the center. Not sure what the context of these orbs are, but the entire main Monkie Kid cast has these orbs on the torso pieces for their power-up suits. You'll see it on Mei in this set in a moment. And it's also on this dragon, so I'm curious what the deal with that is in the show, because yeah, I don't believe we've seen these guys yet. But anyway, then when we move down the dragon's body, I love so much how this is built. Everything's built in a 45-degree angle. If I orient all these bricks straight up, it actually goes like this. But no, it's actually designed on a bit of an angle, which looks so good. I love all the lime green dragon scales coming off the sides, as well as the gold plating on the back. I think that looks really cool. The waviness of everything too is so cool. I love how smooth everything is. This thing looks good from every angle. It's a very cartoony dragon in the best way possible. Here you can see this little seat for Mei or any other minifigure to actually ride on the dragon. Just very easily plop her down and sit her up. And there's how she looks actually riding it. Maybe she's sitting at a bit of a weird angle, but I don't know. I think it works well enough. You can see the waviness of the dragon continues into the tail. Lots of different stickered pieces as you move down the tail with the gold and lime green on them. And while the base of the tail can't move at all, as you move towards the very end, that part can. And this part wiggles like the classic Ninjago dragon tails or snake tails that we saw all the way back in 2012, where it just sort of hangs loose and free. But because of the angle that everything is at, and because the tail actually points upwards, gravity will actually keep the tail in place if you're not actively moving it. So you can have it down to one side like this, or down to the other. And yeah, then you can move it around unless you're shaking it too hard. It won't actually fall out of place, which is pretty cool to see. The legs on this dragon are very unique. They do things I've never really seen before. Starting with the front legs though, you can see they're bulkier at the top. Again, we've got some sticker necks and head shield pieces with some gold on them. And that connects to these giant gold builds on the side, which look like they're kind of meant to be wings. They've got a giant blade and then the smaller cloud piece and then this tiny little tendril. Those connect on a full-size ball joint, and there's not a huge range of motion. You can rotate them up and down, but that's basically it. The rest of it just has to move with the entire leg. But you can see there's some stickered gold plating on top of that. And while they look like wings, I believe what they're really meant to be his cannons, because there's stud shooters built into them, and of course you press down the stud shooter and stud shoots out, and you've of course got one of those on each side. But then moving down the legs, they use these large plant pieces, which that's really the only piece in the set where I'm like, I don't know about that one. Because yeah, while they are sort of Mei's color, she does use green, these are very clearly plants, and like plants has never really been Mei's thing, so I feel like they maybe take away from the mech dragon vibes a little bit, but you could very easily swap them out if those annoy you. But you can see they actually attach the top of one of these like Lego pipe pieces, and the pipe pieces really do a lot to add to that cartoony feel that I was mentioning. Because honestly, they work surprisingly well, especially for a mech dragon, but with how round and smooth they are, it does feel like straight out of a cartoon, which I guess makes sense because Monkey Kid is a cartoon. But yeah, it makes it very unique. I like those pipe pieces a lot. And then for the feet, this is very similar to like dragon feet we've gotten before, however, they did something kind of interesting because the feet themselves are also at a unique angle, and I like this a lot. If I ever do like another custom Ninjago dragon vehicle, I might copy this foot design, because you can see they use like the top of one of those hinge pieces for the very bottom, and that just helps keep the entire foot raised up. So like this claw piece isn't just going straight out flat on the ground. This golden piece that all the toes are connected to I feel like is usually very big, so I feel like this helps keep like the physical size down and doesn't make the feet too long. It just gives this an overall more organic pose. All 4 feet are exactly the same, both front and back, and you can see of course each individual toe can be moved if you wanted to do that. The back legs here are super tiny. They have like these little gold discs at the front, but then they basically just have the one white pipe piece. But yeah, it all just surprisingly works for me. If you described this set to me last year, I'd be like, no, there's no way that works. That would probably look really ugly. But seeing it in hand, yeah, this thing is gorgeous. I really love this build. In terms of posability on the legs, pretty standard. Assuming like the wing builds don't get in the way, there's almost 180-degree range of motion here, as well as 360-degree spin. And on the front legs, up and down range of motion is a little bit smaller, but once again, there's that 360-degree spin. Again, assuming the giant gold blades don't get in the way. In terms of posability, the set's pretty good. You get a nice range of motion and a lot of personality out of the dragon. You are able to balance it with one foot completely off the ground. However, I believe it has to be a back foot just because the front legs are so much bigger and bulkier because of those wings. So while you can have them spread apart like I have right now, both of those do have to be touching the ground. But yeah, if you want it in a walking pose, you can have one of the back legs up. So yeah, all around great build. I am incredibly satisfied with this. Now, when it comes to the price, we'll get to that at the end of this video. First, let's take a look at the minifigures, and then I will give you my overall thoughts. So here are the first 2 minifigures in this set. We have Mei and Mr. Tang in their power-up suits. Now, power-up suit Mei is not new nor exclusive to this set. She did come in one set earlier this year, the yellow Tusk Elephant, and I believe she's the only power-up suit to come in more than one set, at least as of right now. So that's a little bit odd to see, but still cool to get an alternate way to get this figure, because I do think this is a pretty good one. The power-up suits, though, as you can see, are all very similar to each other, with some slight variations. All of them use this white and gold and teal, and use the exact same leg piece. However, their torso pieces are each different, where the color on the chest plate is unique to each of them, and then they each have their own little symbol. So for Mei, you could see on the chest plate she's got a bit of green, because of course green is Mei's main color, and then she's got like this little dragon symbol. While on Tang, he uses dark red instead, and his symbol it looks like it's just meant to be his staff. Speaking of his staff, yeah, those are the accessories in this set. Tang has his all-new staff build for this year, and Mei has her new sword. These, of course, come from the new accessory pack for this year, and how the accessory pack works is even though only a few like full builds are included in each set, you do get the full set of accessories in every single set. So here's what an unopened accessory bag looks like. You can see you get Mei's sword and the top of Tang's staff, but then you also have the pieces to build Sandy's weapon, Pigsy's fork, Monkey Kid's staff, and the Azure Lion's sword. However, the rest of these pieces, such as the hilt to Mei's sword and the rest of Tang's staff, those are not in every set. So yeah, you do get the rest of the pieces here, just these 2 are the only ones that are actually used in this set. In terms of face prints, Mei just has a regular face print that she's had since the first wave. Of her 2 face prints, this is definitely the one I prefer, so I'm happy to see it's still coming in sets. While Tang has his all-new face print from earlier this year, you can see this side he's got his glasses on and he looks a little bit annoyed, but he does have an all-new hairpiece for this set, which is kind of interesting. But then turning him around, taking off his hairpiece, there you can see his alternate face, and you can see his glasses are off and his eyes are closed, because I think this is meant to represent him using his powers. Back torso prints are also surprisingly a little bit different. You can see, of course, the colors are different. Mei's got the green and Tang's got the dark red, but you can see Mei's got like some dragon scales here, while Tang's got that symbol that we saw in the front. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, cool to get 2 of the power-up suits in one set. They go together really nicely. I'm happy that all the different characters are getting them, and both of these do look really good. And then here are the other 2 figures in this set, the yellow Tusk Elephant and then an Ink General. And once again, just like Mei, neither of these are exclusive. The Ink General comes in quite a few sets, both from this wave and from the wave earlier this year. And then yellow Tusk Elephant comes in a total of 3 sets, including this one. The other 2 were earlier this year. And in fact, all of them come in the yellow Tusk Elephant set, which as I just mentioned, the Mei suit comes in. So 3 out of the 4 of the figures in this set are also in another set, which is a little disappointing. I would have preferred more variation. Maybe not put Mei and yellow Tusk in the same set again. Space them out, just to give people more options when buying sets, because yeah, unless you're a completionist, this figure distribution makes it a little bit odd to buy both of those 2 sets. Anyway, it's cool to still get yellow Tusk again. In terms of color color scheme, he's probably my favorite of the new demons for this year. The white and the yellow just look really nice together, and the purple's a pretty cool splash of color. The teal I'm maybe not the biggest fan of, especially on like the legs, because like the gold's discolored on the leg printing and that ruins it a little bit for me. But overall, I don't think it's a huge deal. All the demons this year are very colorful, and I think this guy does his color scheme best. But yeah, it's still not perfect in my opinion. He's got this symbol on his forehead that the ink demons also have on their chests, and that's a symbol that all the bad guys this year have. And then turn him around, he's got a teal scarf, and honestly, without the yellow, this back torso works too. I just feel like it's probably too many colors going on at the front. Still though, it doesn't look bad. I like the new molded piece with like the ears and the trunk, that's really cool. And the Praetorian Guard armor in purple is very nice to get. But then removing the ears and the trunk, there you can see his full face print, where he's just got like a regular little mouth and two little tiny tusks protruding out. A little bit uncanny, but it's a cool alternate option to have, I guess. And then turning him around, of course, there's no alternate face. So yeah, probably my favorite of the bad guy figures this year for LEGO Monkie Kid. However, he is one of the more common ones, but it is still nice to get him in another set. And then we have the Ink General, which is like, whatever. I'm usually not a huge fan of Monkie Kid's generic villains, and yeah, these guys are no exception. They're better than the Shadow Monkeys, I guess, and this is the better version of the Ink Demon, but overall, they're just kind of boring to me. I feel like the torso print's very flat, could have used a bit more dimension to it, but I do like the bits of purple ink like flowing all over it. That is pretty cool. Turn him around again, you got more of that dripping down. And I like the ghost tail piece, I think that works with like the whole Ink Demon vibe. When I reviewed the sets earlier this year though, I hadn't watched the show yet because it wasn't out yet. I did watch season 4 in preparation for these reviews, and wow, these guys are so much cooler in the show. Because these like generic Ink Demons don't really exist in the show, at least from what I've seen. Rather, they take the form of like Monkie Kid's friends. So it would have been really cool for these guys to be like an ink version of Mei, or Monkey King, or even like an ink version of the yellow Tusk Elephant. But instead, they're just sort of generic, and while that doesn't make them alpha minifigures by any means, I don't know, I think there's just cooler minifigure designs out there. That's just me though. If you do like these guys, I guess it's nice to get one here. Add to your army, but it certainly does not excite me too much. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? Honestly, I would like this set a lot if it was $25 cheaper. $75 is absurd for this set, and unfortunately, while I really like the build, I can't really recommend it. Especially if you already have the yellow Tusk Elephant set from earlier this year. 3 out of the 4 figures of those two sets being the same is incredibly lame. Like, I don't mind figures not being exclusive, but at least switch up which figures come in the same sets. Because yeah, Tang is the only desirable one here. Additionally, another minifigure I think that would have been really good to include in this set would be Owlie, the actual White Horse Dragon. Small spoiler for season 4 of Monkie Kid, but we did see him in the show this season. He has like a minifigure design, and considering there was only one exclusive minifigure in the set, this would have been the perfect opportunity to include him. Another exclusive minifigure would have helped drive up the value of the set a little bit, but yeah, $75, only 600 pieces, only 4 minifigures, and honestly, it's just kind of small. This feels very much like a $50 dragon to me, maybe $60 after the price increases, but $75 is just asking way too much. So yeah, unfortunately, while I really like this set, I feel like I can't really recommend it unless you find it on sale, but if you really just don't care about price at all, I mean, it is a great build, I like it a lot. I just wish it was either cheaper or did more to justify its price. Because yeah, while the build is great, and the minifigures are good, just everything combined does not make a great package to purchase. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I have more early reviews coming very, very soon. But until then, thanks for watching everybody, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!